Starr's Beer Review. Tonight we're going to take a look at another James Ready product. This particular one is the James Ready 6.0 Strong Beer. Now, I went into detail in my James Ready Lager review about how James Ready is basically a Moosehead run company. It was a marquee of beer that was originally bought out by the Olin family, who changed the name later on to the Moosehead Brewing Company, and eventually discontinued the brand name James Ready in Ontario some odd years ago. But for the 50th anniversary of the buyout in 1928, or not the 50th, 75th anniversary of the buyout, they brought back the James Ready lineup in Ontario as a cheap dollar beer branding. Now, to continue on with the story, James Ready has a whole line of products that have just been released in New Brunswick. We have their James Ready Lager, James Ready Light, as well as the new James Ready 6.0. Now, as this is a Moosehead product, I'm expecting this to kind of taste almost exactly like some other beer in the Moosehead Brewery range. For example, James Ready Lager tasted almost identical to a Moosehead Lager. So, to continue on with this particular review, why don't we pop the top off of this can and review it. Obviously, James Ready 6.0 is 6.0 ABV. So, feel the pour here. Now, before I got in, once I thought of this beer as, tasting exactly like another Moosehead product, and as soon as I saw it, I almost thought, I wonder if this is anything like Moosehead Dry Ice from Nova Scotia. Another beer that's dirt cheap, readily available down in Nova Scotia. It used to be out here, but we don't have it here anymore. And basically, it's a Moosehead product at 6% ABV. So, which I've reviewed on my channel last summer. I'm kind of half expecting this to be very similar. Nice head on that, actually. I'm really impressed with that. As for color, that it's very pale, and this is about as pale as my stove, but it's perhaps a little bit darker than the James Ready Light. I gotta say though, it's got a nice poofy, creamy head on top of that, and that's really impressive for such a cheap beer. When the James Ready products came out here in New Brunswick, all three of them are priced at $18.49, sorry, for a 12-pack of cans. Now, just cheap-ass cans, cheap-ass beer. It's meant to be an economy beer, but you gotta say it's a pretty good price for what it is. Considering, if James Ready Lager tastes like a Moosehead product, or Moosehead Pale, or sorry, not a Moosehead Pale, a Moosehead Lager, it's not a bad beer to have cheap, because Moosehead Lager is pretty good. I mean, it's not stellar or anything, but it's decent. So, taking a look at this, it's actually taking quite a while for the head to die off, and I'm reasonably impressed. Let's give it a sniff. There's like a slight appley smell. Slight cardboardy smell. Has almost no smell at all, to be totally honest. James Ready Lager had quite a bit of smell, whereas this one's got really nothing going for it. I mean, the smells are similar. It's got this little bit of an appley hop kind of smell. So, but the rest is melded into this little cardboardy smell. Like a processed starch, basically. And a slight sweetness to it. Let's give it a taste. Well, for a 6.0 beer, that's very light and smooth. It's got a sweeter taste. It almost leaves a lingering sweetness throughout the mouth, which could be misconstrued as a little bit of an appley hop note and a little bit of metallic. But for the most part, it's just this little subtly, very light, sugary sweet taste. It's not like it's sugar sweet or like sweet like a malt liquor would be. Yeah, it's kind of like a subtly sweet with a metallic taste and a tiny hint, Not quite as grandiose as the hint of toasted grain and corn in the back of James Ready, but in this one here, that's very much subdued. There's almost no taste to this other than that little bit of sweet taste. It's not cloying or anything, but it might lose some of its appeal for you in the flavor department. It's not bad. And if you close your eyes and think, you can almost not taste any kind of adjunct taste in the back. Although I'd have to say it obviously uses some sort of sugar fortification. And at least it does finish dry, which is really nice, but doesn't really have a whole lot of flavor. Now, some people out there who just want to drink this beer for be a cheap beer. I mean, it is $18.49 for a case of 12 cans, but when it comes to being a beer you'll actually sit down and enjoy, it's probably not that. It's mainly just a cheap beer to get you drunk. But you know what? At that price, it really does the trick, because $18.49 is actually a really cheap price around these parts for beer. In the respect of it being a cheap beer that you like to drink for the sake of being a party beer, this is actually a really decent one to go with, and one that I can recommend in that department. But it's not like it's going to get stellar marks in the drinkability department. And I'd almost say that if you're looking for a beer that has high alcohol content that you're truly going to enjoy, probably look elsewhere. But then again, really, when it comes to drinking true craft beer or something, you're not really looking so much at the alcohol percentage to be, as something to get drunk off of, because it's not really why you're drinking the beer. The reason why you're drinking the beer is to enjoy the beer. In that sense, I'd say go for like an IPA or something, or a strong stout. But where am I going with this? I'd have to say that if I was to compare this to another Moosehead product, it tastes, almost the same as like Moosehead dry ice. But it's been a while since I had that particular beer, and I can't say for 100% certain if that's exactly what it tastes like. Even so, I do like it, but it's not absolutely great. I think I'm going to give this beer a 2.5 out of 5. It's a pass. Which means to me that this is something I would drink if I were looking for something cheap to drink at a party. It doesn't seem to be turning my stomach. It seems to be actually settling quite smoothly, and it is quite easy to drink. And it's not too heavy, even though it says strong beer. It's heavier than James Ready Lager, but it's more like a medium weight beer than a heavy beer. So 2.5 out of 5, because it's somewhat decent and has some things going for it, but it's absolutely nothing spectacular. But at $18 for a case, you're not looking for something spectacular. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, that's my review of James Ready 6.0. Hope you like watching the review, and I hope you like watching some more of my reviews. I have plenty more beer in the fridge. Now I do, anyway. And plenty more reviews in the queue. So keep watching. I'll be with you guys in a bit. Talk to you later.